Hey there, and welcome to Authentically ADHD. I'm your host, Carmen, and I am so glad that you're here. This is a podcast where we get real about ADHD. No filters, no judgment, a safe space to explore and learn and grow. If you're here, it's because you want to take a deep dive into the world of ADHD, and trust me, we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. Now, you're probably wondering, why did I start this podcast? Well, in true ADHD fashion, it all started very impulsively. One day, I thought, I should start a podcast, especially with all this paperwork that I have and all these notes that I have trying to understand my own ADHD. And the next thing I knew, here I am, sharing thoughts with you. I don't know, 200, 100 episodes later? I don't know. I lose track of time. I'm time blind. Are you? Anyways, when you have ADHD, ideas come fast, and sometimes you just gotta roll with them. Honestly, this podcast was born out of my passion for understanding ADHD in a deeper way with the newest research. You see, pills don't teach skills. That's something I've learned over the years. Medication can help and it's a great tool to use, but true growth, that comes from knowledge, understanding, and actionable skills. And so that's what I want to share with you. Research-backed insights, practical tips, and lived experiences of someone who's been there. Now, a little bit about me. I'm not just a host of this podcast. I'm also an early childhood special education teacher, which means I've spent years understanding how children learn, grow, and thrive in ways that work for them, especially when they're neurodiverse. And I'm also a certified life and performance coach, guiding people to unlock their full potential in both their personal and professional lives. But here's the thing that makes me a little different. I'm also a late diagnosed ADHDer. And on top of that, I self-identify as being on the autism spectrum. So when I talk about ADHD, it's not just from a professional perspective, it's from lived experience, because I get it. I know what it's like to feel like your brain is running at full speed while everyone else is moving at a different pace, and you have instructions that are in Japanese and upside down, and everybody else got them in their own language. Throughout this podcast, I'll share all kinds of insights about navigating life with ADHD, from the everyday struggles to the strengths that we can celebrate. We'll talk about everything from time management to relationships to self-advocacy, and all about how to live authentically in a world that often asks us to be anything but. Whether you have ADHD yourself or you want to understand it better, you are in the right place. So, let's get started. Hi there, and welcome to a bonus episode on burnout. Now, I want to mention first that this bonus episode has a ton of meat to it, and that's why I'm reading it instead of just posting it up on my blog on Substack. Seriously, go check out Substack if you have not already. I absolutely love that you can create pretty much any kind of content that you want. I can publish my podcast through it. It's a platform. It's free, and it's owned independently. It's amazing. But anyways, let's get into ADHD burnout more than just exhaustion. Now, I chose burnout for a few different reasons. This time of year is a lot of times where us ADHDers tend to burn out. And ADHD burnout is a term used to describe the physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion that occurs when individuals with ADHD push themselves too hard, stress without adequate coping mechanisms or support, and is characterized by feelings of overwhelm, frustration, and a sense of failure due to the persistent difficulty in managing daily tasks, responsibilities, and social interactions. Research shows that individuals with ADHD are more vulnerable to experiencing burnout due to their unique neurology and makeup. ADHD affects the brain's executive functions, the CEO of the brain, the one that's responsible for planning, organizing, regulating emotions, and maintaining your focus. When these abilities are overwhelmed or strained for an extended amount of time, the individual becomes exhausted, not just strained over, not just from those physical demands. We're not just strained from day-to-day life, but literally from an ongoing cognitive load of managing our ADHD symptoms without relief. Okay? ADHD burnout is significant in the lives of individuals with ADHD because it often results in a cycle of emotional and cognitive depletion that can worsen ADHD symptoms. I've been stuck in the ADHD burnout cycle before, and the condition may hinder our ability to function effectively in various areas of life, including school, work, personal relationships, and more. It can lead to severe emotional consequences such as depression, anxiety, and diminished sense of self-worth, which further exacerbate ADHD symptoms and lead to even more burnout. The persistent nature of this exhaustion means that individuals with ADHD may struggle to recover from it, resulting in ongoing challenges that affect both our mental and physical health. It can even land you in the hospital. You may be wondering, what's the difference between ADHD burnout and regular burnout? While both ADHD burnout and regular burnout share a lot of common characteristics such as exhaustion, stress, and feeling overwhelmed, ADHD burnout is unique in several ways. Regular burnout is commonly understood as the result of prolonged stress, overwork, and lack of balance between personal and professional life. It occurs when an individual's emotional and physical resources are depleted due to external demands that exceed their capacity to cope, right? So again, regular burnout is when a person is in prolonged stress and their emotional and physical resources are depleted due to external demands, like the things that are needed of them exceed what they can do. Now, for neurotypical individuals, burnout tends to stem from a lack of work-life balance or excessive workloads, often manifesting in feelings of detachment from work or emotional numbness. Their recovery may involve rest, delegating tasks, or setting clear boundaries in both our personal and professional lives. In contrast, ADHD burnout is influenced not just by external stressors, but also by the internal neurological factors that make individuals with ADHD more susceptible to this stress in the first place. Neurotypical individuals may experience burnout due to our inability to manage a workload or stress, but typically we have the cognitive and executive functioning skills to better navigate and manage the stress. ADHD individuals, however, struggle with executive dysfunction, which can prevent us from breaking tasks down, prioritizing effectively, or organizing our workload. These inherent difficulties mean that burnout and the cycle of burnout tends to spiral more quickly and intensely for those with ADHD. For example, tasks that may seem unmanageable or manageable to someone without ADHD, like, say, keeping a tidy home. Most typically developing people find that manageable. Completing assignments, again, or, managing a work schedule. These things, though, can be incredibly overwhelming for someone with ADHD. Additionally, emotional regulation is more challenging for individuals with ADHD, making them more likely to experience frustration, irritability, and emotional overload. This emotional exhaustion, combined with the cognitive strain of trying to manage ADHD symptoms, creates a unique and more intense form of burnout that may feel very different than the traditional burnout experienced by neurotypical individuals. In essence, ADHD burnout is not just about feeling tired or stressed. It is a complex interplay of cognitive and emotional fatigue that results from the continuous effort to manage ADHD symptoms, leading to a state of overwhelming exhaustion that may feel unmanageable for those experiencing it. Like, I mean literally laying in bed, cannot get up like they have the flu, okay? The long-term effects of ADHD burnout can exacerbate ADHD symptoms long-term, making it even harder to recover from the burnout itself. Therefore, understanding and addressing ADHD burnout requires a tailored approach that considers the unique challenges that ADHD individuals face, including our brain's neurological makeup and our emotional processing challenges. So, if you didn't get it already, why are people with ADHD more susceptible to burnout? I don't mean to laugh. I laugh when I feel awkward, okay? Individuals with ADHD are particularly susceptible to burnout due to the unique cognitive, emotional, and sensory challenges that are inherent to the condition. Research consistently highlights the neurobiological differences in the brains of individuals with ADHD, which impact how they manage daily tasks, regulate emotions, and handle stress. These neurobiological differences make individuals with ADHD more vulnerable to burnout in the way that is distinct from experiences of neurotypical individuals. Let's explore some of the key factors that contribute to this increased susceptibility. So these are different ways that it's different for someone with ADHD versus someone who does not have ADHD. First of all, there are the executive function deficits. At the heart of ADHD is a deficit in executive functions. Yes, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. We don't have a deficit in attention. We have a deficit in our executive functions, which are cognitive skills that allow an individual to plan, prioritize, organize, and execute tasks efficiently. These executive functions are critical for daily life. If you didn't hear it first, I'll say it again. Plan, prioritize, organize, and execute tasks, okay? So, you're doing stuff. That's what executive functioning is. And it's critical for daily life, and our executive dysfunction can make routines and even just routine activities feel more overwhelming and exhausting. In a 2015 study published in Psychiatry Research, it found that individuals with ADHD exhibit lower activity in our prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain responsible for executive functioning. This means that even simple tasks such as organizing a to-do list, managing time effectively, or completing tasks in a structured manner that can require far more effort for individuals with ADHD than for those without the condition, the constant effort to compensate for these deficits can lead to cognitive fatigue, making it difficult to sustain attention or be motivated for long. For example, someone with ADHD might spend hours trying to get started on a task, feeling paralyzed by the need to prioritize, organize their thoughts. But over time, this cognitive load adds up, leading to burnout. When executive functions are taxed by multiple responsibilities, whether at work, in school, or in personal life, the individual can feel overwhelmed by the mounting pressure to stay on track and complete tasks, contributing to a sense of failure and exhaustion. The inability to manage these tasks as effectively is a significant driver of that ADHD burnout. Another core challenge for individuals with ADHD is emotional dysregulation, which refers to the difficulties in managing and responding to emotions in a balanced way. People with ADHD often experience heightened emotional responses to stress, frustration, or disappointment, etc., which can intensify the feeling of burnout. Research has shown that individuals with ADHD tend to have more sensitive amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions, and then a weaker connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, which governs regulation of all those emotions. This basically means that people with ADHD are more likely to experience intense emotional reactions to minor setbacks or challenges. A 2013 study published in Journal of Abnormal Child Psychology found that emotional dysregulation is a core feature of ADHD. It actually is a core feature of ADHD up till, I think, the DSM-4 or 5. But anyways, as I get off of my tangent, leading to difficulties in self-control and an increased risk of emotional exhaustion. We also are more unaware of our emotions. So, for example, when someone with ADHD faces an overwhelming task or feels they are falling behind, they may experience frustration or anxiety at a much higher level than our neurotypical peers. These intense emotional responses can drive our energy, making it harder to focus on tasks, problem solve effectively, etc. Over time, that emotional toll contributes to the buildup of burnout as the individual struggles to maintain emotional balance while managing their ADHD symptoms. Then there's sensory sensitivity. It's another significant factor that contributes to burnout in individuals with ADHD. Many people with ADHD are highly sensitive to environmental stimuli such as noise, bright lights, textures, and internal stimuli. The emotions inside of us, the thoughts inside of us, and actually even the emotional energy of those around us. This heightened sensitivity can make everyday situations way more taxing and overwhelming and contribute to the feelings of being overwhelmed. Research has shown that individuals with ADHD often have heightened sensory processing sensitivities, which means they may be more easily distracted by external stimuli and struggle to filter out irrelevant information. A study in the Journal of Attention Disorders in 2014 indicated that sensory sensitivities are common among individuals with ADHD, and it can exacerbate symptoms like inattention and distractibility. For example, a noisy environment, someone with ADHD may find it nearly impossible to concentrate or complete tasks as their heightened sensitivity to sound can create additional stress. Somewhat like how I had to go to the library anytime I wanted to study in college because it couldn't be anywhere else, like in my home or anything. Like similarly, a messy or cluttered environment can be overwhelming. I was not being medicated or treated for my ADHD, so I had a very cluttered environment. The library was clean, so it didn't add to the cognitive load and contribute to the burnout, which is why I was able to get through college. The cumulative effect of sensory overload combined with the ongoing demands of managing ADHD can leave individuals feeling emotionally and physically drained. The constant state of sensory overstimulation makes it more difficult for those with ADHD to maintain focus and productivity, leading to burnout. These kinds of things can also lead to something I more recently wrote about, which is called the ADHD shutdown. You can refer to that in my publications. So then, lastly, individuals with ADHD may experience chronic stress and perfectionism, two additional factors that increase susceptibility to burnout. These challenges inherent in ADHD, such as difficulty meeting deadlines, staying organized, and managing multiple tasks at once, often result in a sense of failure or inadequacy. As a result, individuals with ADHD may set unrealistically high standards for themselves in an effort to compensate for our struggles. This pursuit of perfection, combined with chronic stress, can create a toxic cycle that ultimately leads to burnout. A study published in the Journal of Attention Disorders in 2015 showed that individuals with ADHD are more prone to feeling anxious or stressed when their performance doesn't meet their expectations, contributing to emotional exhaustion. When these high standards are not met, and let me tell you, they're high standards, our feelings of frustration and shame can intensify, further draining the person's mental and emotional energy. So, ADHD burnout is not simply the result of external stressors, but it's rooted in the unique neurobiological and psychological challenges that individuals with ADHD face. Executive function deficits, emotional dysregulation, sensory sensitivity, and the impact of chronic stress all contribute to the increased susceptibility to burnout. Understanding these factors is crucial for both individuals with ADHD and those who support them in managing and preventing burnout. By recognizing these unique challenges, we can better equip individuals with ADHD with the tools and strategies that they need to prevent and cope with burnout, instead of letting the negative impact of ADHD burnout affect them. because it doesn't just manifest as a temporary sense of exhaustion or fatigue, like I said before. It has profound and long-lasting effects on multiple areas of life, including cognitive functioning, emotional well-being, and daily functioning. The impact of burnout can exacerbate existing ADHD symptoms, making the challenges of living with ADHD even more stressful to manage. This selection delves into how ADHD burnout affects the brain's cognitive functions, emotional regulation, and the ability to function in everyday life. One of the most significant effects of ADHD burnout is the decline in cognitive functioning. Individuals with ADHD rely heavily on executive functions such as working memory, planning and organization, and cognitive flexibility to navigate our daily lives. But when burnout sets in, these cognitive functions can become severely impaired. Like, that should say more impaired than they normally are, because usually they're already impaired. Research from the National Institute of Health has shown that individuals with ADHD have lower activation in the areas of the brain associated with executive functions, such as the prefrontal cortex. During burnout, this impairment becomes more pronounced, making it harder for individuals to maintain attention, process information effectively, and or switching between tasks. In fact, burnout tends to exacerbate cognitive difficulties related to ADHD, creating a vicious cycle. For example, memory difficulties. Our working memory is already a common challenge for us, and so during burnout, it can be even more unreliable. People may find it difficult to recall instructions, appointments, important information, or literally something that you just said, leading to further frustration and a sense of inadequacy. Then there's the attention difficulties. Focus, which is already challenging for many of us with ADHD, can become even more elusive during burnout. The mental exhaustion makes it difficult to stay on task, resulting in increased distractibility. This can lead to incomplete projects, missed deadlines, and the inability to finish important tasks. Then add in the decision-making struggles. Burnout affects the brain's ability to make quick decisions or solve problems effectively. For individuals with ADHD who may already have difficulties in these areas, burnout can make even simple decisions feel overwhelming. And this can increase indecision and procrastination, compounding the stress and the sense of failure that we have overall in life. Then there's our emotional well-being. ADHD burnout has a significant impact on emotional well-being. People with ADHD tend to experience heightened emotional responses due to the brain's emotional dysregulation, meaning that we often struggle to manage our feelings of frustration, anxiety, and anger. When burnout sets in, these emotions are amplified, leading to more frequent and intense emotional outbursts or feelings of hopelessness and despair. A 2011 study in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry found that emotional dysregulation is a central feature of ADHD, and when burnout occurs, these emotional challenges worsen. The cognitive fatigue and the stress of trying to manage ADHD symptoms often leads to a heightened sense of irritability, anxiety, depression, and worthlessness. Individuals experiencing ADHD burnout may become easily frustrated by small setbacks and mistakes, which can spiral into feelings of inadequacy, shame, and failure. These emotional overloads can have several negative consequences, including increased anxiety, depressive symptoms, and increased irritability. The ongoing struggles with managing ADHD and frustrations of failure can trigger and worsen feelings of depression. A study published in Psychiatry Research in 2013 found that individuals with ADHD are at a higher risk for depression, particularly when their symptoms go unmanaged or they worsen. During burnout, these depressive feelings can become more intense, with individuals often feeling hopeless about their ability to improve or manage their condition. Ask me how I know. It's one of the ways that I ended up in the hospital. In the next half of this episode, we are going to talk about the daily functioning and life satisfaction with ADHD, the intensification of ADHD symptoms during burnout, and then, of course, we're going to go into coping strategies and actionable tips that you can use, tomorrow. First, I do want to give you a recommendation, though. I have tried to listen to the ADHD Adult podcast before. It is either, depending on when you started, in the beginning, it's two men. They both have what sound like British UK accents, and then a woman joins them, kind of like in season 2. I don't remember when. Anyways, I've been looking for a funny ADHD podcast for a while now. I highly recommend the ADHD Adult podcast. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's the Adult ADHD podcast. And you'll know who they are right away because they have these UK accents that I'm addicted to, and I love them. And this podcast / long blog post was kind of inspired by their podcast a little bit. But I've been looking for a funny podcast about ADHD for forever, and I finally found one. That one. Now, a word from our sponsors. Hey there. If you're looking for a game changer in managing your ADHD, let me tell you about something that's made a huge impact on my life. Focused, the Adult ADHD Group Coaching Program by Kristen Carter. This isn't just another program. It's a community. It's a roadmap. It's a lifeline for adults with ADHD who want to thrive. Inside of Focus, you'll find weekly coaching calls with Kristen packed with actionable insights, a supportive community of adults who get it. They get what it's like to live with ADHD. You'll get tools and strategies that actually work for our brains. No fluff, just real results. I've been a part of Focus for over a year, and let me tell you, it's where I've learned so much of what I share with you on Authentically ADHD. It's been a game changer for me, and I think it could be for you too. And here's the best part. If you use my link to join, we both save money. It's a win-win. So if you've been looking for the right ADHD support, this is your sign to check it out. Head to the link in my show notes to learn more and sign up. Let's thrive together with tools and support that we need to succeed. Are you also loving what we're doing on Authentically ADHD but want to take your experience to the next level? Well, I have got something for you. Introducing the Authentically ADHD Patreon, your VIP pass to the ultimate ADHD support hub. As a Patreon member, you'll unlock exclusive perks like early access to every single episode, hear it before anyone else does, a treasure trove of resources that I've made, tools, guides, and worksheets to help you thrive in everyday aspects of life, direct coaching opportunities with me designed to help you harness your ADHD powers, and the cherry on top, an incredible community of like-minded individuals who just get it. You're not alone on this journey, and together we can be unstoppable. By joining Patreon, you're not just supporting the podcast, you're fueling a movement. Together, we're breaking stigmas, embracing authenticity, and creating a world where ADHD is seen as a strength and not just a struggle. So what are you waiting for? Head over to patreon.com/authenticallyADHD and join the family today. Let's keep growing, thriving, and showing up authentically together. Hope to see you over there. Back to the show. Hi, this is a disclaimer that I am a early childhood special education teacher. I am a certified life and performance coach, and I am a podcaster. All right, I am not a medical doctor, and none of this information should be used in supplement of a medical professional and or therapy. Now, before I move on here to our daily functioning and life satisfaction, I do want to point out that within the blog on Substack, there are other older podcasts from my archive that kind of have to do with other parts of this blog/podcast. So if you view it on Substack, you can find extra resources and things like that. All right, into the profound impact of burnout and it, affecting our daily functioning and life satisfaction. So, this profound impact of burnout extends beyond cognitive and emotional well-being. It severely affects daily functioning and quality of life. When ADHD burnout strikes, the simple tasks of daily life, such as managing household chores, socializing, or keeping up with work deadlines, can become insurmountable challenges. Research in the Journal of Attention Disorders suggests that burnout often leads to a significant decline in the ability to complete basic tasks. For example, we have difficulty with time management already, but time blindness, a common ADHD trait, becomes more pronounced during burnout. People may lose track of time entirely. They miss deadlines or fail to show up for appointments, compounding in feelings of guilt and frustration. And let's not forget the ADHD tax that comes along with missing appointments and deadlines. Then there's neglecting self-care. Self-care is already hard for those of us with ADHD, and I have a resource in the blog on Substack, but during burnout, self-care often takes a back seat. Basic activities like eating healthy, exercising, or getting enough sleep can feel overwhelming and mentally exhausting. As a result, individuals with ADHD burnout may neglect their physical and mental health, which can lead to further exhaustion and exacerbate existing ADHD symptoms. There is then an inability to maintain relationships. Burnout can make it difficult to engage with family, friends, and colleagues. The emotional toll of burnout may result in withdrawal from social situations, making it harder for individuals with ADHD to connect with others. And then those feelings of isolation and loneliness can be exacerbated, especially as they struggle to manage the demands of daily life. Then, on top of all that, there's an intensification of ADHD symptoms. ADHD symptoms typically become more pronounced during these periods of burnout. For individuals with ADHD, managing symptoms already requires significant mental energy, and during burnout, this cognitive load becomes unsustainable. As a result, common ADHD symptoms intensify, making the situation feel even more overwhelming. Some examples can include increased distractibility. So burnout reduces the brain's capacity to stay focused, making individuals with ADHD even more easily distracted by external and internal stimuli. This can make it harder to complete tasks, follow through on projects, or even pay attention during conversation. Then there's procrastination. The exhaustion of burnout combined with ADHD's tendency towards impulsivity and lack of motivation can lead to increased procrastination. The overwhelming sense of needing to accomplish tasks can cause individuals to freeze and avoid starting or completing them, leading to a backlog of uncompleted responsibilities. Then there's that difficulty with decision making. As burnout sets in, the brain's ability to make decisions deteriorates. For individuals with ADHD, this manifests as increased indecision and avoidance of making choices, which can contribute to feelings of frustration, guilt, and helplessness. In conclusion, the negative impact ADHD has let me start that again. The negative impact of ADHD burnout is far-reaching. It affects cognitive functioning, emotional well-being, and our daily functioning, creating a feedback loop that intensifies the symptoms of ADHD. The exhaustion and stress associated with burnout not only exacerbates ADHD traits, but also contributes to a sense of failure, isolation, and hopelessness. And really a black hole that makes us feel like we can't get out. So recognizing these signs of burnout and understanding its impact is crucial for managing ADHD effectively and improving our quality of life. With proper strategies and support that work for you individuals with ADHD can begin to break the cycle of burnout and restore balance in our lives. I do have a full free burnout course in my podcast. It's within the Substack. If you want to send me a message on Substack or comment on one of my notes or publications, I can direct you right to the free course if you're interested. But right now, let's go through some coping strategies for managing ADHD burnout. Now, doing this requires a combination of lifestyle adjustments, mindfulness practices, and organizational strategies designed to address the unique cognitive and emotional challenges of ADHD. This is where it mostly differs from regular burnout that typically developing people have. Our coping strategies and our actionable tips look a lot different because they literally require a combination of lifestyle adjustments, not just, resting. Sometimes just resting can help, but by implementing tailored coping mechanisms that we can use over and over again, individuals with ADHD can better manage stress, preserve our energy, and prevent burnout from becoming a long-term issue. The key to successfully managing ADHD burnout lies in proactive strategies that focus on improving time management, emotional regulation, and self-care. Adopting certain lifestyle habits can significantly reduce the risk of ADHD burnout. Research has significantly shown that daily routines, physical exercise, and the healthy nutrition are essential in supporting cognitive and emotional well-being. Structured daily routines, something that we have a love-hate relationship for. Did you know that even just writing out a routine can provide you dopamine? So that's sometimes why we don't even go and follow through with the actual routine. Yeah, fun fact. According to a study published in the Journal of Attention Disorders in 2011, individuals with ADHD tend to perform better when they have a predictable routine. Having a structured day helps minimize decision fatigue and reduces the mental effort required to plan and organize tasks. A routine provides predictability and stability, which can reduce the emotional strain that contributes to burnout. Exercise or movement. Regular physical activity has been shown to improve ADHD symptoms by enhancing dopamine levels in the brain. I have entire episodes about how exercise not only boosts focus and attention, but also alleviates stress and promotes better sleep. Honestly, just a 2013 study in the neuropsychopharmacology highlighted how physical activity, particularly aerobic exercise, which can just be walking, can improve executive function and reduce anxiety, making it an excellent tool for managing burnout. In general, exercise is the number one natural treatment for ADHD. Just wanted to throw that in there. And a balanced diet and sleep. Poor sleep and nutrition are often exacerbated by ADHD, leading to greater fatigue and difficulty in managing symptoms already. Research consistently finds that individuals with ADHD are at a higher risk for sleep disturbances, and insufficient sleep can worsen ADHD symptoms. In a 2015 study in Sleep Medicine Reviews, it suggests that ensuring adequate and consistent sleep is critical in reducing emotional reactivity and improving focus. Similarly, a balanced diet rich in omega-3 fatty acids, protein, and complex carbohydrates helps support brain function and can mitigate cognitive overload. I looked up something about protein once, just wondering why protein helps us focus. And did you know that in some countries where there are dictators present, they use, they take away protein from their people, from the people that they want to manipulate, because it causes brain fog. Low protein levels cause brain fog, and it makes you more susceptible to going along with ideas that, you wouldn't normally go along with. So, another fun fact about why protein really helps us. So then there's the mindfulness techniques, and I know you might be cringing at certain ones of these and not of others, but I'm really just trying to stay practical here. Mindful practices have proven to be beneficial for managing both ADHD symptoms and burnout. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. I could just stop there, but with all of this, it can help regulate emotional responses, reduce impulsivity, and enhance your focus. You can do mindfulness meditation, mindful breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, not reaction. And there are studies behind all of these. For example, a study in 2016 in the Journal of Attention Disorders showed that progressive muscle reaction, which involves tensing and then relaxing different muscle groups, helps lower stress and anxiety in individuals with ADHD. This practice encourages relaxation and reduces the physical tension that often accompanies burnout. Doing mindfulness meditation and mindful breathing can also be done in an active way. You don't have to be sitting still. So, then there's the organizational tools. For individuals with ADHD, disorganization is one of the most prominent contributors to burnout. Implementing organizational systems can greatly alleviate the cognitive load associated with managing all the tasks and responsibilities that we have all the time. I have an open organization system. It's shelving that has files in it instead of a file cabinet that closes because out of sight, out of mind doesn't work for me. What works for you? Task breakdown? Studies have shown that individuals with ADHD can improve task completion by breaking tasks that are large into smaller, more manageable steps. This method prevents feeling overwhelmed and increases the likelihood of task completion. Research from the Journal of Experimental Psychology suggests that chunking tasks into smaller, time-bound goals helps individuals maintain focus and momentum. Also, the use of digital tools and apps. They're invaluable for individuals with ADHD. Time management apps like Trello, Todoist, Google, and Sunsama keep users, they help us. They help users break tasks into actionable steps and set reminders, ensuring nothing gets overlooked. Visual planners, checklists, and alarms also provide external cues that can improve organization and reduce the mental effort needed to keep track of all those tasks because of our sucky working memory. Using timers and time blocking has been life-changing for me. Adopting the time blocking technique where tasks are assigned specifically through periods throughout the day helps me and other individuals stay on task. A 2013 study in psychological science demonstrated that using external time cues helps improve attention and task completion in individuals with ADHD, providing structure to what might otherwise feel like a chaotic day. The next segment is going to be some actionable tips to help you support recovery and resilience. The difference between what we just talked about coping with and these actionable tips is that you're going to first have to cope. You're first going to have to make sure that your lifestyle doesn't lead you to burnout. Then, recovering from ADHD burnout and building resilience involves making intentional changes that promote emotional well-being, create balance, and foster a sense of control over one's life. It's essential to prioritize self-care, establish boundaries, and seek the right support needed to navigate the challenges of ADHD and ADHD burnout. This, again, is why this part is the biggest part that's different from regular ADHD or regular burnout and ADHD burnout. Number 1, self-care. Self-care is critical for recovering from burnout. Prioritizing physical, mental, and emotional health can help individuals regain balance and resilience. Research in psychosomatic medicine in 2014 shows that self-care practices such as engaging in hobbies, spending time outdoors, or practicing relaxation techniques can reduce stress and help restore emotional balance. I have an episode coming out soon about the 7 kingdoms of rest. Next, engage in relaxing activities, whether it's reading, painting, gardening, or listening to music. Activities that bring joy and relaxation are important for recharging. These activities provide a mental break from the demands of ADHD burnout, promoting overall well-being. And then, nourish your body. Eating nutritious meals, staying hydrated, and prioritizing rest all play a significant role in recovery. Restorative sleep, in particular, is essential for emotional regulation and cognitive restoration. especially for individuals with ADHD who may be struggling with sleep. Then there's setting boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries is essential for preventing further burnout and protecting one's energy. Recovering people pleasers, I'm sorry, setting boundaries is going to be hard, but ADHD often leads to individuals that overcommit to tasks or take on too much responsibility due to impulsivity and difficulty saying no. Learning to set boundaries is crucial for reducing stress and maintaining balance. So practice saying no. Research from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology in 2016 shows that people who practice assertiveness and set clear boundaries also have better mental health outcomes. Learning to say no and prioritizing your personal needs can help prevent the overwhelm that leads to burnout. Delegate and stop being afraid to ask for help. Most of the time, people with ADHD often struggle with delegation due to tendency to overestimate their ability to manage multiple tasks. However, seeking support from colleagues, friends, or family members is essential for reducing the load. Delegating tasks helps ensure that individuals are not overburdened, providing more mental space to focus on what matters most. I promise you, most of the time when you ask for help, people who say no are not the people that you're going to want to ask anyways. The people that love you and support you are going to say yes, and they're going to help you in any way they can. Definitely not least, but it is last here, is seeking support from peers and professionals. Support networks play a vital role in developing and helping individuals with ADHD recover from burnout and build resilience. According to a study in the Journal of Attention Disorders 2017, individuals with ADHD who seek social support report lower levels of stress and higher satisfaction with their ADHD management. Think about that. Dr. Russell Barkley even coins the phrase that healing can only happen in community with people who know what it's like to have ADHD. They may not have the same brain as you, but therapy and coaching, like working with a therapist or an ADHD coach or in an ADHD coaching program, can provide practical tools and strategies for managing burnout, and they're personalized. Cognitive behavioral therapy, for instance, has been shown to help individuals with ADHD develop coping mechanisms to reduce stress and manage their emotions effectively. Then there's that peer support. Engaging in ADHD support groups, whether, you're something you're paying for or something that's free, whether it's in person or online, shows individuals to connect with others who share similar experiences. This sense of community and understanding can be incredibly helpful for reducing feelings of isolation and providing encouragement during recovery because they get it. ADHD burnout is a complex and challenging experience, but with the right strategies, individuals can effectively manage and recover from it. By understanding the unique cognitive, emotional, and sensory challenges that contribute to ADHD burnout, individuals can implement lifestyle adjustments, mindfulness techniques, and organizational tools to reduce the stress and improve well-being. Additionally, by prioritizing self-care, setting boundaries, and seeking support, individuals with ADHD can build resilience and prevent further burnout. Recognizing the early signs of burnout and taking proactive steps to protect one's mental health is crucial. By adopting these strategies, we can regain control over our ADHD symptoms and thrive in both our personal and professional lives. Prioritizing mental health is not just a preventative measure. It's a key to fostering long-term resilience and achieving balance. If you related to this episode or you think that you have a friend who might benefit from listening, please share it with them. Share it on your socials. Make sure you tag me so I can give you a huge virtual hug. And something I've heard really helps lately is rating and reviews. So if you could just scroll up and hit that 5-star rating, I'd really appreciate it. If you have the capacity to leave a comment or any feedback or a review, I would so appreciate you, and I will definitely shout you out in the next episode. This has been your bonus episode on burnout, which was incredibly long. Very sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, stay authentic, and we will talk soon.